Hello everyone, it's Lisa Turner here doing another live. So today I'm going to talk about spirit guides and how to speak to them. So a lot of people, we get a lot of questions that people ask me to ask my spirit guides, and the way the question is phrased, they just can't answer. And another common thing that people ask me is, why is it that when I ask my spirit guide questions, I don't get answers, or why do I get radio silence? So I thought I'd do some kind of do's and don'ts and like the absolute worst kind of questions that you can ask your guides. So let's start. And the reason I'm asking that, the reason I'm sharing this is two things. So first of all, every week we do a newsletter, and the newsletter is typically the answer to a question that somebody sent in. And frequently the question is phrased in a way that I just can't, my guides can't answer. In fact, today what I did was, in order to do this live, I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to kind of let my guides, no one guide, speak. Well, I'm not going to do a total invocation. Maybe I will, who knows? But I just thought I'd ask them, what do my guides want you to know about how you can speak with your guides, and how you can speak with my guides whenever you post me a question, or, when you want an answer. So here are some of the most common do's and don'ts. So hello, Michael. Nice to see you. Welcome. So here are some of the most common kind of do's and don'ts. So the first is be really, really clear with your question. Ask a really clear, specific question. The way the universe and the way our guides support us is through following instructions. Believe it or not, the universe, your unconscious mind, and your spirit guide, they want to help you. They are here to serve you. But if you give them vague questions, they don't really know. They're kind of guessing, and they don't really guess. They're very literal. So ask clear and specific questions. So for example, if you asked, if you say you wanted to get, say a common one is, that people want to earn more money. So they say, if you say, oh, so how can I earn more money? That phrase "more" is vague. Like you could, walk down the street, you might see 5p on the pavement. There you are. You've got your 5p. Job done. There's your more. You add XP or X pounds. Now you've got X plus 5p. Job done. So if you're asking, how can you generate more money? Be really specific. So you might say, okay, I've got this specific income goal for a specific reason. Say it's to attend my live event, just say. So you might say, you know what? I need that £500 to attend Psycademy's fabulous live event. So the question would be, how do I generate that £500 to attend that live event? So it's clear and specific. So, and if you have any other questions or any comments, just pop them in the little doofery thing down there. I don't know what it's called. The doofery thing. That's my technical term. That wasn't very clear or specific. I don't know, the posty questiony thing. Comments box, I'm sure it is. Okay, so next one. When you're asking a question of my guides, we need background information. And the reason is it kind of comes into the last one, which is about being clear. So, I had one literally just this weekend, and it said, my question, it was an email that came in, and it said, my question is about relationships. And it's like, great. What do you want to know about relationships? Relationships are good. Have them. Go and do more relating. It's excellent. So again, so giving the background information so the reason for this is when you're working with my guides, and this is probably true when you're working with yours, is your guides they will fill in the missing bits of information so they will give you the information that they feel you're missing in order for you to achieve a specific outcome. So say your question is about relationships. So say your question is, okay, so I'll give you a really interesting one that you might. I was talking to our team earlier today, talking to my team earlier today. We had a team meeting, and I was mentioned to one of them, you know what? We need a particular role in the team. And I thought, you know what? The person who I can think of who'd be one of the best people to fill that role is actually my husband. So the question I was asking of my team, but also of my guides, which is like, how would I go about, communicating with him about whether or not this was a good idea or not, and discussing with him whether or not it would be great for him to fill that role in the business. Now, it might be and it might not, but, you know, it's about a specific thing about relationships. It's okay. So how will it impact my relationship with my husband if he came into the business and filled this particular role? Might be great, might be terrible, might be interesting, might be good for the relationship, might be great for the relationship, but with challenges. So that's just one example. So you might have a relationship question, which is, you know, okay, so I'm not sure if this person is committed. And so the question might be something around, how do you know if he's committed or she's committed? So giving the background to the question, being specific, but with the background. Okay, so any other, oh, Brian is joined, hello. And Florence, hello. Okay, so you notice I'm going away to my screen because I'm looking at my little list here. So the other thing that my guides, and I don't do, and I never do, is, so if there's a question that's around proving knowledge. So I was sharing with my my mastermind group earlier today, and somebody was asking about, you know, about working on the psychic, you know, those psychic phone lines. And I said, back in the day, I worked on some psychic blinds. Can you believe it? Back in the day. And I know this is a strong word, but I hated it. And I'll tell you why I hated it. Because one of the first questions that they would always ask is something along the lines of, not always, but really common, would be something around proving that I really was psychic. So it would be okay, so what happened to me 3 years ago? Or what's the name of my dog? And can you guess what color my undies are? It's like, you know what? Maybe I can, maybe I can't. You know, I can tell you what happened to you three years ago. There was a day when you got up, you got out of bed, you had breakfast, you went to work. Like that may or may not be the thing that you were hoping for me to share with you. So I never answer questions that prove I'm psychic. And here's the reason why, because I don't want to waste my time. My purpose, my mission is all about creating transformation, healing, growth, evolution. Me guessing what color your undies are doesn't create a whole lot of evolution. It might be fun. It's a bit gimmicky. So if you want to, and this is really important, if you want to work with your guides, the thing about working with your guides is your guides, the ideal is you would be working with high level guides. So these are guides that are beyond the higher self. So they're not dead people. These will be guides that are highly evolved, and their mission will be all about, their purpose and their intention is all about transformation. They probably won't be able to answer those kinds of questions. And if they can, they'll just be totally puzzled. It's like, well, don't you know what color your undies are? And like, if you couldn't remember, then wouldn't you just, you know, flip your skirt up, take your pants off and have a look? It's like, these are things you should know. You should be able to work out. We're here to help you with the stuff that is beyond your knowledge and your understanding right now, so that we can serve you at a higher level. So if you want to work with higher level guides, ask them bigger questions. Ask them questions like, how can I be the best expression of who I am? How can I live my life's purpose? How can I express the highest version, the most empowered version of me? How can I empower other people? How can I inspire others? Ask them bigger, higher level questions, and you'll get bigger, higher level answers, and you will attract and create for yourself bigger and higher level guides, higher vibrational guides. Another one, asking questions that are just yes or no answers. It just kind of closes down the conversation. Instead, ask questions that are more. So one of the things one of the ways I ask questions is, I would ask questions that, so how can I phrase this? Okay, so rather than asking, will this happen? That's one of the big no-nos, by the way, which is kind of a yes or no answer. I would ask, and I would open it up to be a question that's more along the lines of, okay, this is an outcome I want. So say you want to, I don't know, set up as a psychic, set up as a professional spiritual practitioner. Right? So you pick the what. You pick the what, And then the question for your guides or my guides would be, how do I do that? How do I set up as a spiritual practitioner? What do I need to do? What are the steps? What do I need to know? What do I need to know or learn that would enable me to achieve this outcome? Another great question is, say you've got a particular problem, rather than asking, will it go away? Will it ever end? Well, because it will end, it will, right? So the answer to that is yes. And the other, not great question is, when will it all end? When will it all be over? Well, when you die, or maybe before. So instead of that, ask this as a question. How can I solve this problem? Or even better, what do I need to know or learn? And who do I need to be in order for this problem to disappear? Because if you think about a problem in your life, the problems that you have in your life are often caused by a current level of thinking. So how do I need to be thinking? What level do I need to be thinking at in order to, so if you've got a problem that's caused by this level of thinking, you need to get your thinking up here in order to solve it. So it's, okay, how do I get my thinking up here to solve this problem, to have this problem disappear? So that's another one. Oh, yeah, predictive questions. The thing is, right, here's the thing. The future isn't fixed. It's not destined. There are certain experiences that you may have chosen, but how you experience that situation, how you create that situation, how you create that outcome it's not fixed. So we get a lot of questions. I get a lot of questions that are, will I win the lottery? Will I lose my house? Will I be able to buy this house? Will I get a better job? I had one once. It was just insane. It was, will I apply for another job? And it's like, well, don't you know? I don't know. Will you apply? Like, that's something. So, I mean, maybe they meant to ask, will I get the job I apply for? And even that, it's like, well, a lot of that is in your influence. It's in your, do you do the research? Do you go and get the qualifications you need? Do you do the study? Do you interview well? Do you practice for your interview? Do you, the actions you do? And it's also on the thoughts you think and the beliefs you hold that will create that outcome. So again, rather than asking a will I question, a better, or will this happen question, a better question to ask is what's the best thing I could do that would enable me to get this kind of, and also not being too, I know I said be specific, I'm contradicting myself now, but rather than not being too specific with this job, but it might be this job or one that's even better in this area. Yeah. Because the universe may have something even better in store for you. So avoid predictive questions. That's one of the things about, when you get that radio silence from your guide, it's often because you've asked a predictive question and your guide doesn't actually know. Sometimes they know. A better way of doing it, of asking that might be, so if you want to know and this ties into the next one, which is asking should I questions. So should I, right? When you ask a should question, this presupposes that there is a right or a wrong. You should behave yourself nicely and be a good little girl or a good little boy, and I'm the God in heaven and I'm going to punish you if you don't. And it's like, that's not how God works. That's not how your guides work. So a better way of doing this to get a better response from your guides would be to ask, okay, so I'm thinking of doing this. This is a decision I'm thinking of making. Could you give me an indication of what a likely outcome might be? And they will absolutely do that. So that gives you a prediction of gives you the what if, but they might also give you several options. Well, here are several outcomes that might happen depending on how you execute it. This is one potential outcome, another potential outcome, and another potential outcome. So, oh, Chrissy's joined. Hi, Chrissy. I'm Vicky. Hi, Vicky. So instead of asking shall I or should I questions, should I do this? Ask a kind of, have a dialogue with your guide. One of the best bits of advice I would say is talk to your guide as if you would talk to somebody like a normal person. Because, you wouldn't necessarily ask, a normal person, not like me, because I'm not normal. Everyone knows that. But a normal person, if someone said, should I do this? They would probably say, well, what do you want to do? What do you want? So think about it like that. What do you want? What do you want? And that's a good focus to have, is what do you actually want? Also asking really broad questions like, so an example of this, when will I live my life's purpose? When will I become fulfilled in life? That's not a great question to ask, because you could be fulfilled in life right now. It's really up to you when you choose that. We create our reality. If anyone who's watched The Secret will get this. Oh, I dropped my microphone. Oh, there it is. So we get this idea that we create our reality, or, whether we create all of it or whether we just create internally how we experience, how we respond to our circumstances, how we choose to interpret them and experience them, that is all within our choice. So when you can be fulfilled right now, and if you're not, then that's a great question to ask your guides. Like, how can I experience fulfillment right now? How can I experience joy right now? It's a great question. So, really good questions to ask are questions that really empower you. So these are the how-to questions, like, how can I create a more fulfilled and loving relationship? How can I show this person that I love them? How can I have them recognize and experience them as being loved by me? If you want more clients, say, a great question might be, how can I attract more clients, and who do I need to be in order that my ideal clients, my karmic clients, have the experience of me loving them, such that they recognize, and a karmic client, I think of a karmic client as somebody you've got like a soul contract. It's like the person when the person when the person you meet, and you just know, I have just got to work with that person. I've just got to work with that person. And you don't even, maybe not even know what they're offering yet. You just think, I have to work with that person. That's somebody you've got a soul contract with. So a question is like, who do I need to be? How do I best enable those people who I have a soul contract with to serve in this lifetime? How can I assist them to recognize that I am the person who can help them? So that's a question that you can ask. So what's Simone said, good advice, thank you. And Chrissy said, loving these snippets. Good. So this is the reason I'm sharing this is so that you can have a better relationship with your guide, so that you can attract a higher level guide. And so I've got a question for you. Would you love for me to would you like to ask my guides a question and have me answer it? Because if you do, I am running a call where I'll be invoking my spirit guides, No One Guide. And I'll tell you, I'm going to talk a little bit about who No One Guide are, and also who else I'm working with at this time. So on this call, I'll pop the link in the comments. It's only £9, which I don't know, is about $11, $12 in the US. And you figure out your currency conversion, because I never know how to do that. Well, I know how to do that, but it's easier if you do it, because it changes day to day. So what I'll be doing is once you sign up, you'll be asked to fill in a form, and on the form are some guidelines on how to ask my guide your questions. And on that call, I'll be invoking my guides so that you'll be speaking and communicating directly. They'll be communicating through me, answering your questions. And on the call, if you want to, if you're live on the call, you'll be able to dialogue. You'll either be able to do that just by typing in questions and things, or you can jump on the call live. So let me tell you about who my guides are. One of the questions is, so my guide, the funny name, No One Guide. What the heck kind of, why aren't they called, I don't know, it seems like everyone's spirit guide is a Native American Indian or a First Nation person, or somebody, or Cleopatra, or somebody from ancient Egypt, or, I don't have any of that. My guide is No One Guide. That I don't speak to, and the reason is, you see, So when I first started to invoke, and when I first started to, and invoke is different to channeling. So channeling is where my guides kind of talk to me and then I relay what they're saying. Invoking is when they enter my body and they speak through me. So they kind of run my neurology. It does take quite a lot of energy. So I have to build energy before that. It is very energizing while I'm doing it. They gift me energy, but I also need to run quite a high energy in order to do it. And one of the kind of they are funny when they're doing it because they don't really understand the physical world. So as a result, it's a little bit like they're using my vocabulary and they kind of rummage. It's like they're rummaging in my filing cabinets to explain what it is, use words. So, and to explain or to answer the question. And one of the things that that they do is sometimes they don't always find the right bit of my vocabulary. So once I had a lady ask a question who she was asking a question about her physical health, and she'd had some organs removed, and they could not find the bit of my vocabulary that basically said organs, and they were talking about the components of your physical machine, and it's like, you're in the engineering section of my brain. I don't know, those of you may know, some of you know I used to be an engineer, and so they said, you're in the engineering section of my brain, you need to go to the human body section, and they're organs, it's organs, the word you want is organs. They talked about components, so the components that had been removed. Anyway, so my guides they're non-physical, they've never lived, they're not dead, they're not a dead person, and that's because they're at a higher level. And they are a stream of consciousness now, or a stream of energy and awareness. And the way they operate is that they're very different for every question, because it's almost like the energy of my guides changes in response to who's asking the question and the question being asked. So one of the things they do at the end of each question, they say, "We have spoken." Then the next question comes in. And what happens is then, and it's almost like while the question's being asked, and then shortly after, it's like a whole different energy comes in, and then this energy speaks through me so that they answer that question. So the other entities, Simone, you've asked a great question. I'm going to answer that in just a second. Simone's asked, what process do I use to invoke my guides? So I'm going to shuffle around my chair like I'm not supposed to when I'm on video, and I will answer that in a minute. I'm just going to talk briefly about some of the other energies that have been coming in for me. So a message I got, oh gosh, it's nearly 5 years ago I got this message, and it's now coming to pass. So we do get predictions, but they're kind of weird, funky ones. I don't get normal predictions like who's going to be president or who's going to win what are the lottery numbers. I get these kind of predictions. So a good few years ago, I got this message about that around the earth at this time are being created 5 orbs or spheres, and they are called the creator spheres. They're positioning themselves around the earth, and their purpose is to support the evolution of the planet. And that I was told that at some point I would be able to communicate directly with the spheres. Initially, I was speaking with them through and via No One Guide. They're here to support the evolution of us as a species at this time. And they're here to support us during this time. The human species is going through this kind of technological adolescence. It's like we have the technology to save the planet, to feed everyone, to manage our resources wisely and well. And we also have the technology to totally stuff it up. I nearly said a rude word there, but I didn't. The Australian coming out of me, but I just managed to stop myself. Facebook probably would have banned me. So the spheres are here to support us through this technological adolescence. And what we're finding is as the species evolves to its next incarnation, its next level, and this isn't about physical evolution, it's now the next revolution is a spiritual revolution, which is why, Tammy's asked about your gifts, and I'll answer that question in a moment. Because everyone is feeling this, like they're feeling this desire to connect more. So I now am able to invoke the spheres, which is, when I first did it, oh my God, I had to lie down for about 3 days, I think. It was very, I tell you, when they first did it, when they first came in, I had to tell them they have no concept of breathing. And I needed my assistant. So when they first did it, they started to speak on the in-breath. Can you imagine what that sounded like? And I was like, no, not like that, not like that. So we got them to speak on the out-breath, but they continually, when I'm invoking them, they have no idea about how to run the physical body. And as a consequence, they completely forgot about breathing. In fact, one of my assistants in the room, they now breathe sort of, and they kind of move their hands so that I get the cue, or the spheres, when they're invoked, get the cue for me to breathe me. Otherwise, I kind of feel a bit strange, shall we say. So I'm not guaranteeing that the spheres will come through next. So the call is next Thursday at, I think it's 1 o'clock BST. I'll pop the link in the comments for how you can join that call. And I'm not guaranteeing the spheres will come in, but they might, because what I'm finding is that a lot of people are being called and stepping up into being a spiritual leader. They know, and it's like, so the question is like, you might think of yourself as being a spiritual leader in disguise. So if you think you're a spiritual leader in disguise, you might want to hop on that call. I'm also doing another call later. I'm giving a little sneak preview of this. That's going to be in a couple of weeks' time. So I won't share any more about that just yet. That'll be I shouldn't have said that. No, that's okay. You're ready for it. You're ready for it. So, but if you feel yourself being called, that you're the sort of person who people come to you for advice, that you know that you're a healer, you know that you want to help the evolution of the species, that to us getting to the next level, to create a planet and a place of abundance, of joy, and of growth, but growth without turmoil and challenge. If that's the kind of, if you feel that as an inner calling, then this might be the place for you. So Simone has asked, what process do I use to invoke my guides? Now, I actually teach this on my spiritual practitioner training. And so I'm going to share with you how I do it. And I call it as best I can. So the best metaphor I have is this. So first of all, I have been initiated into these guides, and I've been initiated into the spheres. And this is one of the things that I offer people on our spiritual practitioner training is I will, we Psycademy will initiate you into this high level guide at the level of no one guide or thereabouts. It's actually the level as the highest level that you can sustain at the point of initiation. So an initiation is a whole process. So we clear your neurology so that you've got space for the guide. I go and create the guide for you. And it's a level of just below the archangels. And that's then installed in your neurology. Now, when the guide has been installed in your neurology, see, this is where, it's almost using the word channeling and invoking is almost misleading. I use it because it's in common usage and people understand it. But it's like this coherence. It's like this, it's like if you think about a resonant waveform. And when there's a resonance at one level, and all I do when I invoke is my guides are, say, resonating here. So if you can see my hand. And I'm maybe normally resonating here. What I do is I just raise my vibrations so that I'm up here. And then instantly the invocation happens. And all I do is I just create, because we're resonating at the same frequency. So it's just about creating that resonant field. Now, that process really involves just being totally present, totally in the moment. I remove all distractions, so I'm completely unaware of everything, which is why I'm not always great at driving technology, so I often have to have an assistant. I even forget to drink, so somebody says, take a drink, Lisa. So that's how I do it. That's the process I use. So I raise my vibration in that instant. What I also find is, and this is, lost my microphone. I've lost my microphone. There it is. So sorry about that. There we go. I wondered, worried if that would happen. I totally sorted that for you. So very professional. It's important to be professional at all times. So that's how I do my invocation. So it's about creating that resonant field in the microphone, resonant field. Okay. I hope that kind of explained it. The other thing I was going to say before I lost my microphone is, it's, for me, the idea is like a lot of people experience their guides as kind of hit and miss. It's like some days they can experience their guide, sometimes they can't, sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not. And this is one of the beauties of that initiation is that it's there. It's always there for you. It's just about choosing it. And if you feel that it's kind of hit and miss, then you might want to consider and have a conversation with me about the initiation. Because when you've had the initiation, you can invoke anytime, anywhere, at choice. And if there's hit and miss there, then you might want to think about, you're probably ready for the next level. Okay, so Tammy's question, is there any information being given for me about my gifts? So this is almost, so we get a lot of questions like this about your spiritual gifts. So people will ask, what are my gifts? Do I have any gifts? And really, the thing is for you, so let's just take a step back. Let's look at that word gift. Because this gift, this idea of it's a gift, it presupposes that there's somebody over there giving you a gift. And it's like, sorry, Tammy, no gift for you today. Or yes, Tammy, we've got a great present for you because you deserve it because you've been a good girl. Doesn't work like that. I want you to let go of this idea of gift. What if you could choose? What if you could say, you know what? I want to be super clairvoyant, or I want to be able to connect to source. I want to be able to invoke the highest level of guide. What if you chose that? And then all you needed to do was ask the how. Now, that how might be you need to do some training, might mean you need to develop yourself as an individual, which frankly, everyone needs to do. This is in every esoteric, every spiritual training, everywhere. There is personal growth, personal development, letting go of what's not serving you, stepping up to the next level, doing, stretching yourself, expanding your neurology. It doesn't need to be painful or traumatic unless you want it to be. And, some people like the drama, and that's great. Good luck. Honestly, like, if who doesn't like a little bit of drama? I like, I prefer mine on the TV, but some people like it in real life. So when it comes to gifts, let go of this idea of gift. Think about it as choice. Think about it as like you could go to the smorgasbord or the supermarket of spiritual abilities. And let's use it like that, an ability. Because what is an ability? It's something that you are able to do, right? So go to the supermarket of spiritual abilities and say, you know what, I'm going to, let's go to the clairvoyance aisle, and I want to have the high level guide aisle. And you know what, I'd like the empath aisle. A lot of people say, no way, I'm staying well away from the empath aisle because I know what's down there. So think about what are the abilities you would like, and then choose them. And like when you go to the supermarket, there might be an investment. Now the investment might be money, like you might need to go do some training, and it might be time, and yes, it will be, and it might be practice. Another way of thinking about it is like this. It's like if you wanted to learn to play the piano, right, you wanted to be a gifted pianist. What's one of the things that even if they do agree and think, you know what, I've got a natural gift for playing the piano. Personally, I don't even own a piano. I saw one on one of my sales pages the other day. It popped up an ad for a piano, and I thought maybe I'll buy a piano, but maybe I won't. So anyway, digressing. No piano. I don't own a piano. I can't play the piano. And so if I wanted to play the piano, what would be the first thing I do? Would I sit around going, oh, please let me play the piano, please? Will you bestow me with the gift of being an amazing pianist? Would you do this, please, please, please? And would I meditate and, I want to play the piano. I want to play the piano. Or would I actually get down and do some practice, right? So practicing, that's pretty key to this. So I hope that answers your question about gifts. Tammy says, lol. I like that. I don't know what you're lolling at, but I'm glad maybe you're lolling at me losing my microphone. So let's see. Are there any other questions? I've been yakking for a while now. Hope you enjoyed this. Lots of people saying they did. So if you like this, then please do share this. If you think what I'm saying is useful, then please share it. And if you liked it, hit the like button or the love button, and join me on my Facebook page. Go and like that as well. And we can all spread the love. So till next time, I'm going to aim to do one of these once a week. So, yeah, maybe I'll do, look, I'm getting loads of likes. I love this. Oh, wow. They were kind of running across the screen there. That worked. So I'll post the link to joining that call next week. As I say, it's only £9. We don't, honestly, it costs us more to set it up than we make. So Tammy has said, makes a lot of sense. Maybe if by changing my thoughts, from gifts to abilities, I'll be much better at my readings. Yeah, maybe. And the thing about ability is, what do you do with an ability? You practice it. And Tammy, I don't know if you saw, it's on the fan page, the link to that how to open your third eye webinar. I think you were asking about that last week or the week before, can't remember. So don't know if you signed up for that, but that would definitely be a great place for you to go and great place for you to start. Or Tammy, yeah, just stay in touch. Stay in touch. Lots and lots of love to you. Till next time. See you there. Lots of love, everyone. Bye.